Vietnam is one of the world's 16 most biologically diverse countries. Although it covers less than 1% of the global land area, it holds about 10% of the world's species. Vietnam hosts a unique diversity of marine, coastal, wetland, forest, and mountain ecosystem. These are the foundations of the country's economy and culture, reflected in how Vietnam approaches natural hazard and the way the fauna and flora are valued as sources of food and medicine, cultural services, and spirituality. Like many other developing countries, Vietnam is undergoing a transformation that threatens its biodiversity. These threats come from the transition from a subsistence-based to a consumption-based economy, rapid urbanization and infrastructure development, overuse of wood, poaching, human-wildlife conflict, and climate change. All these challenge Vietnam in finding a long-term solution to reconcile development with biodiversity conservation. Recognizing the importance of conservation and of the sustainable use of biodiversity early on, Vietnam was one of the first countries to ratify the Convention on Biological Diversity in 1994. This convention was designed to preserve biodiversity, to find sustainable ways to use it, and equitably share derived benefits. Vietnam has continued to prove its commitment to biodiversity conservation by adopting subordinate conventions and protocols. In 2014, it joined 93 other countries in signing the Nagoya Protocol, an agreement focusing on one of the three objectives of the Convention on Biodiversity: the fair and equitable sharing of benefits deriving from the sustainable use of nature's genetic resources. This protocol also includes the benefits arising from utilization of traditional knowledge associated with genetic resources. Likewise, as part of a long tradition of adhering to and implementing convention, Vietnam continues its commitment to the Ramsar Convention of 1989, becoming the 50th member country in the world and the first Southeast Asian member country on the Convention on Wetland Conservation. Vietnam also signed other important biodiversity-related conventions and protocols such as the Cartagena Protocol and the Rio Convention. To honor its commitment, the government of Vietnam has developed and adopted a number of important policies and action plans. In 2013, the National Biodiversity Strategy has been revised, determining 3 objectives for implementation and achievement by 2020, including terrestrial protected areas to account for 9% of the total territorial area, marine protected areas to account for 0.24% of the sea area, and forest coverage to reach 45%. In short, the strategy sets ambitious goals and chooses strong indicators to increase the country's number of internationally protected area. To achieve its targets and the indicators prescribed by the Convention on Biodiversity, Vietnam has designed a master plan in 2014, ambition plans and policies, and has worked to strengthen cooperation across sectors and capacity on the ground. New guidelines and policies include the Biodiversity Law 2009, the revised Environmental Protection Law 2014, the Marine and Island Environment and Natural Resources Law 2015. These important laws are followed by many other decrees, circulars, and technical guidance to facilitate biodiversity and management conservation in Vietnam. The international community has been a key support in enabling and adding crucial values to these policy efforts. A strong support is from UNDP GEF, manifested through the programs and projects it has funded over the years. Between 2012 and 2016, with support from the Global Environment Facility, often called GEF, UNDP and the Ministry of Natural Resources and Environment implemented a project titled Developing National Biodiversity Strategy and Action Plan and Demonstrating Biodiversity Conservation to Provincial Planning. The project supported Vietnam in its international commitment as a signatory of the Convention on Biodiversity and the national priorities for enhancing improved environment management and biodiversity conservation for sustainable development. Vietnam National Biodiversity Strategy and Plan, the country's most important and comprehensive national policy to accelerate biodiversity conservation, was developed. The project also supported the Ministry of Natural Resources and Environment, also called MANRE, capacity building to improve its communication and outreach. This resulted in the preparation of the 5th National Report on Biodiversity in the annual State of Environment reports that were submitted to the National Assembly during that period.
Trong thời gian qua thì về phía hoạt động của Quốc hội thì dự án đã phối hợp với Ủy ban Khoa học Công nghệ Môi trường tổ chức một số hội thảo khảo sát thực tế tại địa phương về công tác quản lý đa dạng sinh học. Thông qua hoạt động này thì các đại biểu Quốc hội đã hiểu rõ thêm về thực trạng thực thi pháp luật đa dạng sinh học của Việt Nam và kinh nghiệm quản lý đa dạng sinh học của quốc tế. Điều này góp phần quan trọng cho các vị đại biểu Quốc hội trong việc tiếp tục xây dựng và hoàn thiện hệ thống pháp luật về đa dạng sinh học Việt Nam và tăng cường năng lực thực thi của hệ thống pháp luật này trên thực tế.
Another project called Capacity Building for the Ratification and Implementation of the Nagoya Protocol on Access to Genetic Resources and the Fair and Equitable Sharing of Benefits in Vietnam is being implemented by Monterey with the support of GEF and UNDP. This project targets to contribute to the conservation work and sustainable use of biodiversity in Vietnam through capacity building in the field of protocol implementation and equitable sharing of benefits coming from genetic resources. Major results gained from the project include the establishment and improvement of a policy system on access to genetic resources and sharing of benefits management, assistance in building a genetic resource access mechanism, increased awareness of genetic access and sharing of benefit, and implementation of private-public partnership model in genetic access.
Có một cái đường đi nó rất là rành mạch trong cái việc sử dụng, phát triển, hợp tác, phát triển cái nguồn gen này để đưa lại cái lợi ích cho cộng đồng nói chung và cho các cái bên đối tác nói riêng.
Khai thác tối đa, khai thác hiệu quả, hợp lý và khôn khéo với giá trị đa dạng sinh học của để phục vụ cho phát triển kinh tế xã hội bền vững.
Cái dự án vào thì có thể là giúp đỡ cho bà con cộng đồng ở trong thôn để bảo tồn lại những các cái nguồn gen, các cái cây dược liệu để sau này là mình mới có thể là tồn tại được và con cháu thế hệ sau nó mới biết được các cái loại thuốc không có. Thì hiện nay là bà con cứ hái thì có thể sau này nó sẽ mất các cái nguồn gen, mất các cái cây thuốc của bản địa.
Vietnam is home to some of the world's most important wetlands areas. 1/5 of the population is living in wetlands and is dependent on them for their livelihood. However, wetlands in Vietnam are under threat of degradation due to the land use change, economic activities, pollution, overexploitation, and climate change. With UNDP and GEF assistance, Vietnam is improving its institution and is piloting a management model for the Ramsar wetland system. It is also increasingly involving local communities in wetland conservation. New protected areas are being created in Tai Binh and Thuan Thien Huế provinces, and local capacity has been improved for effective management to mitigate existing and emerging threat from connected landscape.
Our important support is to make sure the implementation of the government's commitment to some of the important global treaties and international conventions on biodiversity conservation, particularly the ones such as the Ramsar Convention on Wetlands Conservation.
Điểm mới đặc biệt của dự án này là hỗ trợ nâng cao năng lực quản lý hiệu quả đất ngầm nước thông qua giảm thiểu các mối đe dọa làm suy giảm đất ngầm nước từ các hoạt động con người trong hệ sinh cảnh liền kề với đất ngầm nước, góp phần thực hiện các nghĩa vụ của Việt Nam trong việc thực hiện triển khai công ước Ramsar.
Protected areas in Vietnam struggle to find a constant and reliable funding that is crucial to their maintenance. Self-sustaining financing mechanism were urgently needed if biodiversity was to be preserved in the long run. UNDP and Monterey tackled this issue in 2010. Through a new project, innovative solutions were implemented.
UNDP ở Việt Nam cũng đã và đang phối hợp với các bộ ngành của Việt Nam để mà rất tích cực nỗ lực làm nhiều các biện pháp khác nhau để phục vụ cho cái đa dạng sinh học. Thì một trong những dự án đó là tập trung vào cái vấn đề là làm sao có được cái nguồn lực tài chính bền vững để mà phục vụ cho cái công tác nâng cao năng lực cũng như là quản lý các cái khu bảo tồn một cách hiệu quả hơn.
In Cat Ban National Park, entrance fees were changed and tourism was developed to allow for environmentally services leases. This increased the annual revenue to 1.2 billion Viet Nam dong. In Pitu Noi Ba National Park, assistance from UNDP and Monterey help increase and manage revenue from a number of ecosystems and develop management plans, business plan, and regulations. In Sang Tri National Park, the project helped increase revenues from an unexpected source, leasing water to raise clam. Although Vietnam has made significant achievements in biodiversity conservation, there are still many challenges that need the involvement from the government, local authorities, communities, and international organizations in the commitment to preserve and develop biodiversity sustainably. UNDP is currently implementing a global biodiversity finance initiative, also called BioFin, as a new global partner that comprehensively addresses current challenges in biodiversity funding system. The BioFin initiative assists governments in implementing their national strategy and action plan for biodiversity and securing the sustainable funding of protected areas. Vietnam is one of the most important beneficiaries from this UNDP global initiative. According to initial assessment from BioFin, more than $1 billion has been spent during the period of 2011-2015 for biodiversity in Vietnam. The needs are estimated to double in the next 5 years. New initiatives are constantly being discussed to find new, innovative ways to preserve biodiversity. Investing in biodiversity today is investing in a future where no one is left behind.